Hello, happy February, friends. Welcome to today's stretching yoga class that focuses on opening up shoulders and hips, two areas where we tend to hold on to tension, that we tend to work a lot and then move on without giving any love. And since February is the month of love, why not start with showing some love to ourselves so that we can then go out into the world and do a great job of being kind and taking care of others, knowing that we've taken care of ourselves. Recommended equipment for this class is a strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, go ahead and grab a belt or a towel. And if you don't have any of those things accessible right now, that's okay. We'll work around it. And then at the very end, we will use blocks if you have them. I suggest two, but if you have one, that works as well. And again, if you don't have any blocks, it's okay. We're only going to be using them at the very end. Go ahead and roll out your mat, gather your equipment, turn on any music that you like to listen to during your yoga practice, and meet me back on the mat in embryo pose. All right, so embryo pose is a foundational pose for child's pose, if you weren't sure what it is. So we're going to come down to kneeling with our knees touching. And then we're going to bring our forehead down to the mat, and you're going to extend your arms long behind you with your palms facing up, and just allow yourself to be heavy here. If this is too much, or you want your arms extended forward, or you prefer child's pose, those are always excellent options. And just take a nice deep breath in through your nose, filling up with gratitude for yourself for showing up on your mat today. And an open mouth exhale, let it go. Again, deeper, fuller inhale, noticing your belly compress against your thighs. Drag that breath down to your tailbone. And an open mouth exhale, empty out completely. Let's take one more cleansing breath. Deepest, fullest inhale yet, creating more space in the body than you can imagine. And an open mouth exhale, empty completely. Now seal your lips closed and continue to take those deep, expansive inhales through the nose and those powerful exhales through the nose, with a slight constriction in the back of the throat, creating an almost ocean-like rhythmic sound with your exhales. And doing your very best to either match the count of your exhale to the count of your inhale, or extend the count of your exhale longer than the count of your inhale. These are two ways, either matching the breath or lengthening the exhale. Two ways to really calm the central nervous system, make mind-body connections. And on an inhale breath, go ahead and come up to your knees in a hero's pose. So kneeling here, and you can kind of move the flesh of your calves out from underneath your thighs. And we're just going to sit here to start, doing our best to relax in this posture. It's a really deep stretch for the quadriceps, so if you find it's too much and you have one or two of those blocks handy, you can slip them underneath your bum for a little added support. And now we're going to begin to add in some shoulder mobility so that when we stretch our shoulders, they are mobile and warm. So we're going to come into some YTs. Go ahead and inhale, fingertips overhead, pinkies facing in, thumbs back. This is our Y. Then rotate the palms forward with the thumbs facing in. Come down into a W. I'm going to move this way or I'm going to crash into the wall. And snuggle those shoulder blades in. Keep the shoulder blades snuggled in towards one another and extend your arms out like a T. Bring the fingertips back down in the direction of the mat. Inhale, fingertips overhead, pinkies in. Exhale, palms rotate forward, chest opener, upper back strengthener, W. Inhale out to that T, snuggling those shoulder blades together, and then bringing the fingertips down on the exhale. We're going to do 3 more rounds of that, and I want you to move with your own breath, mindfully and purposefully. And if it gets too much to be on your knees, you can come into a cross-legged seat, or you could even do this standing. And using that entire inhale to bring those fingertips up. And then using that entire exhale to hug the elbows down into the side. Inhale, lengthen the fingertips. And exhale down. I have 1 more. I want you to move wherever you are with your breath. All right, now we're going to come up onto our hands and knees. And if you kind of need to wiggle your hips from side to side or shake out your feet, those are all options. And we're going to come into a lizard. So stepping the right foot to the outside of the right hand, lengthen that left leg back, and then we're just going to move our hips side to side in that lizard. If you have a block close by and you want to bring it underneath your hands just to give you a little bit more space here in this lizard, go ahead and do that. You can shift onto the pinky edge of that right foot if you want. All options here, just creating some space and some movement in our hips before we settle in for a deep stretch. You should also be feeling some opening in the front of the left hip. And then now we're going to find some steadiness, and you're going to bring that left hand down to the mat, underneath your left shoulder, and you're going to extend that right hand out towards the right, maybe even bringing the tricep to touch the elbow like you were going to shake someone's hand. And then we're going to trace a rainbow shape up, around, and back in the direction of those left toes. We're going to do that 2 more times. Forward. Reaching out, lengthening the waist out of the hips, and then following the thumb up and back. So opening the shoulder, opening the hips simultaneously. And then let's do 1 more. And we're going to have an option for a deeper stretch this time. So as we bring that hand up, around, and back, I want you to kick the left heel in towards the left glute and reach for the pinky edge of that left foot with your right hand. If you need to come up onto a block underneath this left hand in order to do that, that's an excellent option. Or if you have that strap handy and you want to loop it around the left foot to bring that heel in a little closer to the bum, that's an option as well. And then relax your shoulders, snuggle the shoulder blades in towards one another, broaden the chest, smile, relax your face. And then go ahead and come back up. And we're going to walk this right foot across, coming into a pigeon stretch. So if being in pigeon in this direction is too much in your body, you're going to simply shift onto your back and come into pigeon on your back. If you are in this sleeping pigeon position, I want you to think about squaring shoulders and hips to the front of the mat. And maybe you stay up on your hands here, continuing to guide the right hip back and the left hip forward in the direction of that right heel. Another option, if you've got these blocks, is to bring the block underneath your forearms. Or you can come all the way down here. into this reclined pigeon. And finding some comfort with your breath in the discomfort. It is most likely a little bit uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable for me, but it isn't painful. I am in control of my breath. If you find that you are not in control of your breath, then you need to back it up and come up onto your palms or onto your back. Our bodies are excellent at communicating to us what we need to do. Our minds and our egos just don't always listen. All right, go ahead and come up onto that left palm, and we're going to reach the right arm up, and then bring the right arm underneath the left for a little twist. And again, if that's too much, you're not going to do it. You're going to stay in whatever variation of the pigeon is right for you. Keeping those hips square to the mat. Go ahead and come up. Then we're going to come back into that quadruped position here. You can draw some circles with that right hip if that feels good to you, or you can wag side to side. And I'm going to turn to this side only so you can see me. We're going to come into that lizard with the left foot outside of the left hand. Walk the right toes back. We want to be on the fleshy part above the right knee. Legs are, so the right leg and the left foot are hip width distance apart. And we're just going to rock side to side here. You can draw some hip circles. Whatever feels good to you. If you need that block underneath your hands, you're going to bring that block underneath your hands. Using this time here to come into that breath, to continue to build the breath. Maybe now at this point in your practice, your exhales and your inhales, the counts have greatly increased from the start of the practice. Find some stillness. Keep the right hand planted underneath the right shoulder. Extend the left arm out like you're going to shake someone's hand over towards the left. And then we're going to rainbow the hand up, around and back in the direction of the right toes. And then return it forward, reaching out like you're going to shake someone's hand, lengthening your waist up and out of your hips, and then reaching back. So feeling just a deep, awesome stretch in the front of the right hip. Reach the hand forward, and then this time, as we trace that rainbow with the hand, we're going to kick the right toes up, and we're going to take the pinky edge of the right foot with the left hand. Gently drawing the heel in towards the glute, feeling a deeper stretch in the front of that right hip flexor, the front of the right hip, and checking in with your breath. Now, if you're scrunched up and just forcing this, that's counterintuitive to what we want to accomplish here today, so we can find other ways to customize this. Step one being we just reach back. And I shouldn't say just, we reach back with the hands. We're still feeling that awesome opener in the front of the hip. Two, if you have that strap, you can loop it around the right foot and hug the right foot in towards the glute using the strap. Sometimes giving ourselves a little space underneath the right hand with a block also allows our hips to open up to give us some space. All things to explore. Yoga is very much an exploratory practice. And it changes from day to day. Our bodies change daily. All right, we're going to come into that pigeon. So go ahead and walk the left foot over to the right side of your mat, or come onto your back Square the hips and shoulders. You can give a press into the right knee to hug it forward and a press into the outer left knee to hug it back. Open up your shoulders, loop the shoulder blades down and back. And then just begin to crawl forward, whether on your block or up on your palms. And I want you to think about lengthening your waist out of your hips. If this is painful and you find yourself tensing and scrunching down, please come up onto your palms. We build our practice with exactly that practice. So the more time and the more practice we take, allowing our body to be where it wants to be rather than where we think it should be, is how we develop our practice. That's how we build that flexibility safely. It's how we continue to move safely for years and years and years. And yes, we all have those moments of ego when we think, oh, but I need to do this. Well, let your yoga practice be a safe time for you if you are someone who's always pushing to the max, pushing to the max, pushing to the max. Let this be a time for you to explore, maybe pulling back a little bit. Go ahead and come up onto that left palm. We're going to keep the hips and shoulders facing forward. Reach the right hand up. And if you can, you're going to thread that right arm underneath the left, keeping the hips and shoulders squared. If you feel pain in that left knee, I want you to come back up. I did, so I'm just going to come up onto this right forearm. Flex those left toes back towards your knee. And then go ahead and come up. We're going to grab that strap if you have it. Oh, actually I just got ahead of myself. We're going to come into a cross-legged seat with our right leg in front. Extend your arms out like a T. I don't know if you can see Charlie, but she's grunting. And then give yourself a hug with the right arm on the bottom. Lift your elbows in line with your shoulders. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, open up, thumbs facing up. Really opens up our chest. And then exhale, lifting the elbows in line with the shoulders. 1 more. Inhale. Lengthen, open up, thumbs maybe even rotate back. And then this time we're going to hold. Hold the hug. And if you want to take it a little bit deeper, you're going to come into an eagle bind, crossing at the elbow and the wrist. Lifting the elbows in line with the shoulders, reaching the fingertips up towards the ceiling and feeling the opening in the upper back. Compressing the elbow joints and the wrist joints. And then releasing, shaking it out, fresh blood. And we're going to switch the cross of the legs. So left leg in front of the right, arms out like a T once again. And this time as we hug ourselves, the left elbow comes underneath the right, just guiding that right elbow up. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, open. Hello, Fiona. And exhale, hug, lift the elbows. 1 more. Inhale, open. Oh, maybe even think about drawing those elbows back towards one another. And then crossing the elbows and coming into that eagle bind if that is accessible to you. So, again, what is accessible to you is the key. This right here, giving yourself this hug, is the same stretch as this. And then go ahead and unbind and shake it out. And if you have that strap or belt, oh, sorry, Fiona, or towel, you're going to go ahead and grab it, and you can cross back to the original right leg in front, or you can keep the left leg in front. We're going to find a lot of length along that strap. You're going to bring it out in front, hooked between your thumb and your forefinger, And you're just going to be able to begin to bring the strap up overhead. And then we're going to bring it back behind us. And I am going to create a lot more space between my hands here, or you could bend your elbows. Do not force your hands back behind you without creating enough length, because you could tear something in your shoulders. There's so many tiny supporting ligaments, tendons in there. Hi, Fiona. You're in the party zone here. And then reach it back up. And if you find a place that feels good and you kind of want to move side to side there, you can. And then bring the hands to the mat behind you. Let's do that 2 more times. Just a little bit deeper opener in the shoulders. It's raining out. I don't know if you can hear the rain. It sounds so nice. We've had a lot of rain recently here in Southern California. Well, a lot for us. I was in Oregon last weekend and there was a lot of rain. And it's so funny, the difference. If you live in a place where it rains all the time, people are just used to it. It's nothing. You just go out in the rain, you go about your business in the rain. And in Southern California, it's like the world stops when it starts to rain. But it doesn't need to. All right, so now we're going to come down onto our backs for some really nice hip and shoulder stretching. So I'm going to come down onto my left side in a gentle twist, arms out like a T. So I'm going to move over a little bit so I have space to make that T. Alternatively, you can lengthen the bottom leg, the left leg, and keep the right knee bent in a triangle. Maybe hook the right toes behind the left knee. And then we're going to do bookends. So bringing this right hand on top of the left, and then opening up the palm. We're going to do 2 here, and then I'm going to show you a deeper stretch that you can take, that you can explore and see if that's right for you. All right, now this time as we close that book, bringing the right hand on top of the left, we're going to flip the right palm so that it's facing the sky and the thumb is facing down. And we're going to trace a rainbow over our head. Maybe that hand is on the mat, maybe it's not. And then over to the right side. So close the book, and then flip the palm and trace the rainbow overhead. I really feel the lengthening from my right shoulder to my right hip as I trace that rainbow overhead. Let's do 1 more. And this is a great stretch that you can come back to anytime. I do recommend warming up your shoulders before you add in the rainbow. But the foundational bookend, where we're just opening left to right, right to left, is something you can do anytime. And then very carefully come back onto your back. And we're going to come into a half happy baby with this right foot. So hugging that right knee in towards the rib cage, pressing the foot into the hand, and then grabbing the foot with the pinky, or grabbing the pinky edge of the foot with the right hand. And then we're going to come into that gentle twist on the right side. So either right leg lengthened or both knees bent, stacked on top of each other. Arms out like a T. Oh, Fiona, you're making this very difficult. I hope you guys can see. And then bookend. So left palm on top of right, opening and then bringing that left palm over to the left. We're going to do that 1 more time. And then this time we're going to have an option to trace the rainbow. So flip the left palm up towards the ceiling and then trace the hand. Oh, notice that spot where you feel the deep stretch in the left oblique left QL muscles. Oh, there you go, Fiona. And then switch it out. Fiona, you need to lay down. Okay? And then let's do one more. Charlie, come lay down. And then come on to your back, coming into that half happy baby on the left. If it feels better to you to come into a full happy baby, you can come into a full happy baby. And then if you have those blocks, I think I'm going to come to this side because Fiona's going to make it a little bit more difficult. You're going to put one up at its highest height for your head, and you're going to bring this other one perpendicular to it on the medium height, and you're going to put it between your shoulder blades for a very awesome chest opener here. You can bring your arms down by your side. Also, you could bring the blocks underneath your knees if this doesn't feel right to you and you want to lay your upper body flat on the mat. Or if you just prefer to take Savasana flat on the mat, that's an option as well. But since we did so many chest and heart openers today, this is a nice way to end the class. Hopefully you're feeling physically more open and emotionally more open, so that when you step off of this mat, you can go do the best work that you can do. And during February, this month of love, my challenge to you is to practice random acts of kindness. And these do not need to be anything major. Things like smiling at a stranger, a genuine smile, a genuine compliment to someone, holding a door for someone, being a very courteous driver, letting people in front of you, maybe packing a lunch for your spouse, slipping a little note into that lunch, letting them know how much you appreciate them. I've seen people leave random notes on cars around town with just something nice on them. It literally does not have to be anything major. You can volunteer somewhere in your community. I know local food banks are always looking for volunteers, animal shelters, all just simple ways to spread some love. And then someone else pays it forward, and someone else pays it forward, and you've done a lot to create a nicer world around. All right, friends, as always, thank you so much for practicing with me. Enjoy as long as a Savasana as you have time for, and meet me back here on your mat very soon.